queen opening trap for white. Now, initially we start off with standard opening moves, but then you surprise your opponent with pawn to d4 sacrifice. Now, your opponent can possibly take with a pawn, but then you push your own pawn forward, attack the knight, and it feels uncomfortable for black. It seems a lot more secure for your opponent to capture by the bishop, but then you play bishop g5, pinning the knight, getting ready to push your pawn forward, and his whole position is very fragile. If he tries to naturally push your bishop away, it's a rookie error because of pawn f4 blowing up his position completely. Now, at this point, if he takes your bishop after pawn takes e5, there are way too many threats for him to handle. If instead black tries to capture the pawn, trying to keep the position closed, then you break open the position by sacrificing your rook. After this, you grab his knight, and the other poor knight is pinned twice, and he is defenseless. For example, if he moves the rook, you just capture this knight, you capture the queen, and then you play queen e5.
Come on!
Check this out.
Check this out.
दे देंगे पूरा सेंटर, हम पुश करेंगे अपने पॉन को, और जैसे ही वो हमारे पॉन को काटेगा तब हम चलेंगे d5, उसके पॉन पर अटैक करेंगे और डिस्कवर अटैक करेंगे उसकी क्वीन पर। वो अपनी क्वीन को साइड में लेके जाएगा और डिफेंड करेगा अपने पॉन को, लेकिन हम उसका पॉन काट देंगे, और जैसे ही वो हमारा पॉन काटेगा तब हम डेवलप करेंगे अपना नाइट को और अटैक करेंगे उसकी क्वीन पर। वो अपनी क्वीन को बचाएगा, तब हम अपने रुक को लेके आएंगे ओपन फाइल पर और हमें मिल जाएगी ओपन फाइल। लिटरली इस पोजीशन में अगर वो कोई भी बेसिक सा मूव चलता है तो वो हार जाएगा, और जैसे ही वो अपने रुक को डेवलप करेगा तब हम चलेंगे रुक g4। उसकी क्वीन के पास सिर्फ एक स्पेस होगा जाने के लिए, इसलिए वो अपनी क्वीन को बचाएगा। तब हम चलेंगे रुक e4 चेक, डिस्कवर अटैक के साथ उसकी क्वीन पर। जैसे ही अपने वो किंग को बचाएगा तब हम काट देंगे उसकी क्वीन और जीत जाएंगे चेस गेम सिर्फ 9।
Here's the prisoner's gambit popularized by Magnus Carlsen. He played it against Anand. Knight of 3 controls the e5 square, so your opponent moves the other pawn forward. Then you continue development and black keeps grabbing the center. All of a sudden you sacrifice the pawn in the middle of the board. But that's not the end. After that you put your knight to a vulnerable position, tempting your opponent to play queen d4, which looks like a winning double attack. But all of a sudden you play bishop b2, attacking the queen. And after he captures the bishop, you then lock the door, and all of a sudden the queen is almost trapped. It tries to escape, then you play bishop b5 check, and on the next move you still go after the queen. It turns out there is only one square to go to, but then you trade bishops, play pawn a3, and the queen is gone, you win the game. The Bacher Gambit. Now you give up a pawn for seemingly no reason, and then you march with your king forward, inviting your opponent to attack it. It seems like your king is about to be checkmated within a couple moves, and then you play g3. He grabs the pawn, now your king is in check, and you can't even recapture since your pawn is pinned down to the rook. Therefore you have to keep marching with your king, and after this, looks like you're totally devastated. However, at this point you've got an impressive 70% win rate for white, which is way higher than in any classical opening. After this check, your king finalizes this impressive home run. Your opponent still thinks that he's about to win the game, he attacks you, but you counter-strike, and all of a sudden you have a nice attacking position, you're ahead in development and his attack failed. For example, after queen h4, you can sacrifice the bishop and win the game.